Okay, get on that fabricator and build some defenses.
Alright, winners. So here's where I said it really tries to take on this effect of... It takes on the effect of this is the... Here's the Horde mode, and we really want to make it so that people play the Horde mode or incorporate the Horde mode into the main game. And they do kind of... I'm not going to say... I don't want to use the term that they force it on you, but it does feel a little unnecessary to like have it here. I don't always understand exactly why it's like this is where the Horde mode happens because of XYZ. Like it just, I don't know. It's definitely odd to me that it is as incorporated into this as it is. So we're gonna get ready to go though, because like I said, I don't mind it, and this is where we have to defend against the incoming of Jen's box. So First Minister Jen's box to see what's going on here. Alright, so for those of you who haven't played a Gears Hordes mode before, what it ends up being is it is just a... I don't have any ammo for this, goddamn.
I'm an excellent teacher. I taught him everything he knows. Oh shit!
So what it ends up being is we are just defending ourselves from a wave of the robots attacking us, and that's all it really turns out to be, is a battle of you against the robots as they just keep coming on you. Now, like I said, I enjoy the concept here, especially it makes sense in a Gears game because you're constantly fighting this incredible onslaught that just doesn't give up. It is always supposed to be completely relentless, whether it was the Locust Horde or it is the Locust Horde or these the DBs here, the robots, as they just non-stop attack, forcing us to do whatever it takes to stay alive. So it does feel thematically important here, but it's not always the most fun, I would say. Alright. Well, we're out there, so we're gonna lay on here. And so I did pick up the Retro Lancer because I do want something that has a fair amount of, I want something that has a fair amount of ammo to it. Or, not even a fair amount of ammo. I just want to be able to do damage at a long range. One of the problems here with this is the fact that it does have a lot of kicks, so you're constantly going up against the recoil here. So it does take a little bit to get used to and to make sure that you can effectively utilize it, I guess would be the best way to place it. Alright, so I think we'll be alright here. We're going to continue with what we have currently. Let me make sure everything's fully loaded. Now, I enjoy the Retro Lancer for what it is, especially when you got to see it in the in the first mission there, just because it feels like a very clunky, not very slimmed down version of the weapon the Lancer that you're used to from the first two games. Now, this one did debut in Gears 4. I also love how thick the ammo box is supposed to be there, because when you actually see it later on, it seems like they open and you shove a huge magazine in there, so you have to be... You have to be physically strong in order to be able to push through everything. So we're going to do something real quick. I'm going to grab this, the longbow here, because I want to make sure that we're able to stop these guys. And that should be able to push those two back. I'm going to go back to my MK, just because I feel like it's going to do the most damage here and be the weapon that's going to be probably the most reliable for me. God, and these things, like I said, they don't feel weak. They don't feel cheap. Even the light ones, I'm taking out with 2-3 shots here, they still feel like they do a good amount of damage. That's... Took him down, so he'll run up to me. I'm hoping he explodes before he gets to me.
Keep our people safe. Nothing reaches that door.
So the wall right beside me does typically explode. It's actually hanging on a bit here, and I was not expecting to hang on for quite as long as it is. And I think the last time I played through this, which wasn't too long ago, because like I said, I don't always like doing blind playthroughs when it comes to getting through these games, just because it can lead for some lulls in combat or some lulls in what I'm doing. Shit. So what I actually did last time was I wasted all of the ammo from, I wasted everything that I had from the, oh, there it goes.
Oh shit!
On a,
Jen upgraded the Watchers too?
I wasted, like, all of my sniper ammo pretty early on, and it was just a little frustrating.
Look sharp. Lock in.
Oh god, that's gonna kill me. Ah!
Revive me!
You're okay.
Oh man, I'm hurt!
So what sucks there is I really want to grab that salvo, just because what it'll let me do is it lays waste to things like this. Like, I wouldn't be struggling anywhere near as much as I am. But this is how it's gonna go right now, because of course it is. Ah. Please go down. Okay, dead. Now, I also like the fact that the drones, like I said, other than seeming unrelenting, they just keep coming. And ones like these, when they know they have the fair amount of armor and they are going to win, they just continue the onslaught. There's no lull, there's no slowing down. That's it. They just keep coming constantly. And I know that that's kind of reiterating the same thing that I've already said.
Replace what you can't. Fast.
But it feels good that they...
I'll check the door.
You losing your edge?
It feels good that they made them seem fearless. Not even fearless, that they don't have the consequence of death, so it doesn't mean that they have to play it safe.
Shaving.
Giant beard. I cut myself shaving. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just trying to grab everything I can here. That way, when everything starts to kick off the next time, I'll just be good to go. And I can just keep picking it up, grab it, launch some salvos at them, run back, grab a little bit more. It'll make things a lot easier for me coming up in the future here. Also going to grab...
Oh yeah.
I thought I would have a little bit more usage out of that. Not as useful. I probably should have saved that for when when some of the big boys were dropped. But you know, this is where I'm at.
Trackers incoming!
God damn it! Shit!
One dead tracker.
Let's drop one.
Defend the hole.
That is completely frustrating. And there they are, the big guys. So this is what I really want to use this for, because it does the most damage, and if I can just hit him in a weak spot, typically it goes pretty well. That was all I had. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the... Oh god, there's two of them too. Alright, let's make this part easier.
They brought trackers!
Oh, there we go. It's always, whenever you have things like that with the chain guns, and then they can just lay into you, it is always incredibly frustrating. It's just something really hard to deal with, because it almost feels like they're, well, one, it's overwhelming numbers, too. They're just able to put so much down range at you at any given point in time. Ah, come on, pick me up. Come on. That's always frustrating. Out of ammo there. You just need to do enough damage to you to get you to stop. And where's the stat? And there we go. We have another one of the Guardians over here. But like I said, luckily the bigger weapons will trivialize some of these bosses here, which is fantastic. They should feel like they're susceptible. If you have heavy weapons, it should never feel like that's it. This is just what you're stuck with.
Hey, that's the last of them. Good job, young ones.
I love him. Not only that, but I feel like you should just take this away with the fabricator. We should be alright. And just drop those over here so the village can defend itself in the future.
Oh, shit. JD, incoming wind flare.
Oh, boy.
You promised me you could steal that fabricator without provoking Jin.
Ma'am, were you listening? This has nothing to do with a fabricator.
Then what did you do?
Jin accused us of taking her people.
Yeah, whatever that means.
I told you, both of you, don't make me regret taking you in.
Mom, you know she's lying. Since when do we care what the cog thinks?
When it leads to war. You three, get the fabricator to the power station and install the inverter.
You realize Jin's coming back, right? We need to leave, now.
Get the power back on.
Fine. Whatever you want.
You, when more cogs show up, sound the alarm. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, you always said this day would come.
Which is why we stick to the plan.